By observing a picture of a child around the age of 3, I was able to analyze the expression on this baby's face in comparison to the same face expression I made on November 14, 2008, when my mom announced to me that my grandmother had passed. Living with my grandmother on and off until the age of 9, I observed her commute in and out of hospitals. Around the age of 10, my grandmother began staying in the hospital for days. Around this time, my mom began to limit my visitations because she was becoming very ill, as my mom would say. My grandmother was originally light-skinned with freckles and a mole on her face. Visiting for the first and unexpected last time, I've noticed that Grandma's features had drastically changed in such little timing. Grandma was as dark as I was, with yellow eyes. She can hardly move or even speak. Seeing her like this made me sad. December 1st, 2008, I recited my letter to my grandmother at her funeral. The funeral was packed with so many familiar and unfamiliar faces. Seeing all these people brought me happiness, because I never knew she was loved by so many. Followed by the funeral in South Carolina, we buried her next to her son, which was one of her wishes we as a family brought to life. Charleston, South Carolina was where she spent most of her time and was where she also was buried. Because of the family-oriented feeling, she always wanted to be buried in South Carolina, so we made sure of that. Leaving my grandmother down south was the most hardest road I have ever crossed in life, being that I knew she wasn't coming back home with me to our apartment back in the Bronx. I never really understood exactly why my grandmother had passed because of my age, but I knew that I didn't want to leave her, especially not knowing why. When I was about 14, my mom finally sat me down and explained what really happened to my grandmother. In these exact words, she said, "Nani, Grandma had passed away because she was diagnosed with a disease called hepatitis B, which is a sexually transmitted disease that damages your liver." She went on saying about how this disease is transmitted through blood-to-blood contact. This information was very difficult to process through my head, knowing that this was going on for a while now. However, I felt a lot of closure from this new information, and I was finally able to accept the fact that my grandmother had passed, because I knew she was in a better place now.